GG's, mate. Well done. Well done, Mixu. That's not easy. Yeah. Alright. I am ready. I think the boys are ready. I know that this is out of the 4 series, this one is probably the one where you guys feel there is the biggest favorite, and that big favorite being Goblin, but I don't know. I believe in Shameless, and I know he's been working on the PvP. I'm gonna let them know that I am ready when they are. Shameless was on a rampage yesterday. What did we have yesterday? The 3v3 tournament? By the way, the 4v4 tourney I thought was today, but it's actually tomorrow. Now I have to play Padel tomorrow at 12, from 12 to 1. But as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna run home. And I'm gonna play the 4v4 tournament with Gabe, Moja, and I don't know. Someone else. I don't know who. I don't know if my computer can handle 4v4, but we're gonna give it a shot. Thank you, Sap, mate, for the 12 months. I appreciate it. As we are loading in to the main event of the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts once more. 150 bucks for the winner, 50 buckies for the loser. It is a PvP, as I don't think we're gonna get a lot of PvPs at the Esports World Cup. So I thought tonight was a good night for it.
Let's get it on. Round 1, fight!
In the bottom right side, the man who's been playing some of the best Starcraft of his career in the last few months, and obviously had that amazing game against Rainer on court, on Crimson Court. What a game that was. He's been asking for a couple of weeks if he could play in the BBB. I was teasing him, saying that he could get max packs, but obviously I wouldn't do that to him. This is Platinum Heroes Goblin. He's gonna face off against this man. On last Monday we were watching the weekly, and Big Gabe in the round of 16 was playing against this Russian Protoss, and we said if he takes down Gabe, we're gonna let him play in the main event for the very first time. And he did take down Gabe with a beautiful play on Amphion, and here he is, first time ever, a youngster from Novosibirsk. I'm a big fan of this kid. It is Shameless. Legit, I expect a lot of this best of 5. I actually think they're both very good at similar things. I think they're both quick. I really think we're gonna have a fun series. It may not be the most appealing main event ever on paper, but I actually think it's gonna be a very fun one. Goblin did play main event one time against Drogo a long time ago. I believe Goblin won that one, but this legitimately is like a year and a half ago, so it's hard to remember. And I did that because of the history that he has with Drogo and their famous best of 5 in Kiev many years ago. But that is long gone. Drogo and Goblin are friends these days. They played a lot of League of Legends with each other, and I think that was a fun series. It was fun to see a man like Drogo play. He was obviously a big veteran in the European scene. Stalker Sentry coming out of both players. Yes, a Goblin is going to hit us with the pylon block. A Shameless also with a temporary pylon block. Goblin apparently does not want to reveal the fact that he opened up with a sentry. I mean, if only a single Stalker is attacking the pylon, I think it is somewhat obvious, but I mean, they're both doing the same thing. Twilight Council makes the most sense here. Anything but a Twilight would be a little bit surprising to me. Goblin is a fan of that weird Dark Templar build. It is a build that a Spanish goat is very fond of, where they actually go for a couple of sentries, they even hallucinate a few stalkers, and they give the opponent the idea that all the gas has been spent on units, and then meanwhile there is a cheeky dark shrine. Because if it is a stalker sentry blink on both sides, most of the time you don't get a very early robo, because that's obviously expensive and it takes a long time before you can get value out of that. So delaying the robo is a very common play. I wonder if Goblin is going to do it here in the very first game. It'd be a nice way to open up in a best of 5. You want to keep your opponent on edge throughout the entire series. You can obviously try to open up with a very cheeky early Dark Shrine. Both of them just chrono boosting out a lot of workers at this point. It is going to be Blink on the side of Goblin though. Can still be aggressive, but with Blink Stalkers instead of DTs, and then still get a pylon and a gateway on the other side of the map. Seems that Goblin has done a slightly better job in boosting out workers, because this game really has been dead even, but there is still a bit of a worker lead on the side of Goblin. Playing it with a little more confidence apparently. Shameless is gonna have Blink tiny bit quicker, but it kind of feels that the few seconds of quicker Blink is not gonna be enough to walk to the other side of the map and take a fight there. Five minutes in, they are mirroring each other. Goblin just had a slight worker lead. Shameless is now the first to drop a robo. Goblin still believes there is no need for that robo yet. He's done a pretty good job in scouting non-stop with the sentries. Did have one probe here throughout the entirety of the game that wasn't mining, so I guess economically it was very close. You can still see that Goblin took a bit of a lead. Forge on the side of the man from Croatia. He goes Forge Robo, Shameless goes Robo Forge. It is all out macro here in the very first game of this PvP. I like that Shameless built the Robo here, because this is a Robo that's protected by a shield battery. We know there's no Dark Shrine. I think he kinda knew there was no Dark Shrine. But it's still one of these things where it's always safe to have a Robo that's protected by two pylons, or a pylon and a battery, than just a single pylon. Because then if a couple of DTs show up and they unpower it, it could be the end of your game immediately. We've got 4 more gateways coming online on the side of the Russian Protoss. Who's gonna fire up charge? Goblin, no charge yet. Not much of a resonating glaive guy as far as I know. This is a proper passive PvP, guys. 7 minutes of the two players basically doing the same thing. A couple of very minor variations here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, this has been about as close to a mirror as anything could have been. Now that we are on 3 bases, one of them is going to drop the Temple Archives. The other one is going to go to 4 bases. And that's the first little difference we've seen. Sentry era, guys. It truly is here, right? That is a slow warp. Arguably the most exciting thing that has happened so far in this game. +1 is done on the side of our Croatian Protoss, who had that quicker forge, and he's got a few more stalkers. And he feels that it's perhaps time to take a little look at the other side of the map. That Immortal's a little bit exposed. Shameless needs to be careful. Shameless has gone for Zealots a bit earlier. Now, there are situations where your Zealots are going to be fantastic, but it's also going to be hard to get a good fight against the Stalkers from Goblin, who's doing a good job in controlling this part of the map. Sniping an Observer there as well. Goblin could go for that Immortal, will go for that Immortal. Shield Battery Overcharge is not good enough to save it. So the first real big pickoff of this game goes towards the man from Croatia. The Observer was a tiny victory, the Immortal is a pretty big victory. It's a lot of resources down the drain, and Goblin did not have to pay anything for it. Goblin is not the kind of Protoss to go into double Robo with a Robo Bay very early. And Shameless, I don't think ever really does it. Goblin is gonna try to show off some multitasking here with 2 Adepts in the natural, as the Stalkers are gonna dance here, but Shameless's army definitely good enough to fight this army of Goblin. So now it's all about not taking too much damage from these Adepts. He's taking definitely a little too much. Loses 6 workers in total. Goblin actually creating a pretty big lead for himself across the board. This is playing this really well. 9 minutes in, it kind of feels that this goblin completely dictating the pace of this game, and he is finding damage. Snipes another observer too. How the hell did he have vision of that? Is that from... I don't know from which observer that was, but... Goblin is supply blocked, and he's floating money, so that's a tiny bit unfortunate. And Shameless is trying to set up a surround. A game where so far it really has been all Goblin. But Goblin sees this, by the way. Oh, this is risky, Shameless. Goblin has observers spread all across the center of the map. And Shameless thinks that he's being clever, but he's not being clever. Because Goblin knows all about it. In the end, the Zealots will get a couple of hits off. At least it's good news for Shameless that there is no all-out fight happening. Because that means that he can catch up in upgrades. He now has +2 as well. And obviously he can recover from losing that Immortal. Vision is so important though, and the man does not have a single observer. He has lost 2 or 3? What is it? 2 observers. It's hard to play a PvP if your opponent knows every single move you're about to make. It does have Archons here, and Archons obviously can have a very big impact on the Zealot fights. But without a Gateway or a War Prism, okay, we have a War Prism. I still think it's too difficult to attack. Danke, Jumi. Ich liebe dich. Vielen Dank. Guardian Shield gets activated on the side of Shameless as he thinks he can go for it, but with the cannons, with the batteries in the back, I don't think there is a way. Against the Zealots, he's gonna do totally fine, but Goblin is so rich. Shameless really needs to be careful because he could potentially end up losing the game here. This is not the attack, my friend. Shameless really needs to go home, that is. Not go here. Look at the amount of Stalkers that Goblin is working with, guys. How do you possibly engage into this? Zealots are good against Stalkers, but not in these numbers. And not against double cannon, 4 batteries even, and a single cannon. Archon somehow survived with 3 HP. The 3 HP Archon, it did survive. Second Robo and a Robo Bay coming online for Gobbis. .46 Stalkers. Goblin does need to be careful because his army is a bit too large to recall home. Like the Nexus recall does not cover an army this size. Misses the blink there, but actually apparently not that bad. Only loses a single one. I thought all 4 Stalkers use blinks. War Prism of Shameless sieging up in range of a cannon, so he's gonna have to move it. Shameless have a Robo Bay? No. 12 minutes in, it does kind of feel that Goblin is just playing better. Slightly higher understanding of PvP, playing it with slightly better confidence. And is just making most of the correct decisions. So difficult to beat a man like Goblin when he's playing like this. So much money in the bank too. Shameless will have a slightly bigger army. And he's got 2 Immortals in the mix. And if there is a world where these Immortals can actually fire, they might be able to make this could be a good spot to fight. I like this position right here for Shameless. Goblin has played a better game so far, but this is the one position where he was not quite ready to fight. And Goblin is making a very mature call to just give up on that base. That base is not important enough to potentially lose the game over. He's got 5,000 resources in the bank. He's got double Robo Bay coming online. And he's played a very good game across the board. But nice to see that Shameless is battling his way back into it. Goblin was definitely sharper and better. But at this point, I think Shameless is kind of matching him. He might be able to get another observer here. That's big. War Prism a little bit exposed, but he's not going to end up losing it. Seems like Goblin also killed another ops there. One Disruptor, guys. One Disruptor could land a pretty devastating Nova. It's going to be basically impossible for Shameless to avoid it when you have so many ground units. Little Zealot run by is not going to accomplish a lot here. Fighting near the cannons and batteries. Not it. He blinks forward. He wants to gun down the Disruptors. And he actually gets 2 out of 3. And the one Nova that did go off was not very large. But yeah, even after a good dive like that, you can still not chase into the batteries and the cannon. That's just a bit too much. Good job though, good job against the first few disruptors. I'm very happy to see Shameless play some solid PvP here, where even in a game where not many things went well for him in the beginning, he's actually making a lot of the correct choices at the moment. Does lose track of those observers, it's a bit unfortunate. He's got his own disruptor in the mix. One of the last things that I thought is that we're gonna have a 15-minute PvP where they both have a lot of bases and they both have disruptors. Goblin is still a lot richer than Shameless. Shameless tries to get on top. Oh, that's so risky, mate. That is so risky. That's gonna expose his immortals. That's gonna expose the disruptor. I understand that he went for it, but it was not the play, as he does not blink away in time even from that Nova. And after 15 minutes, it all comes crumbling down. That was a disastrous move for Shameless. Could have just gone for the 5th base again, guys. He could have just gone for the 5th base again. Instead, he loses 2 immortals, a disruptor, and so many stalkers for nothing. Goblin fires a Nova. That one does not connect. Seems like Shameless landed his Nova. This Nova, no, it's gonna be fantastic. Goblin gets the double kill. And this kind of feels that Goblin has way too much. Has a big army still on the top right side as well. And it's a nice mix between Zealots, Stalkers, and DTs, so you can gun down observers too. Oh, Shameless. Why did we go for the cannons and the batteries here? He could have just gone for this base again. That Nova had potential, but Goblin is paying attention. So that Nova is good though. Shameless is an 18-year-old Protoss from Russia. He's been around for a while. He just made really good progress in the last, let's say, 9 months at this point. He's been around for a bit. I think this is the 4th time that I've invited him to the BBB. He's got very good PvP. PvP was a bit of a weakness of him, but he has been working on it. It's showing a bit here in game 1, but it does feel that Goblin is playing better. But I still think this is the kind of game where one very bad engagement could do Goblin dirty. Shameless feels that this is the moment to go on this 5th base. It does mean that this army is stuck though, guys. There is no way out for this army. And it's very difficult for Goblin to run into this army, as Goblin does lose the Nexus. He's setting up the surround with the disruptors. Does Shameless have... Oh, he sees it. He knows about it with the Stalkers. Oh my goodness. Now can fire maybe? What a chaotic fight. The flanking disruptor. Oh, Shameless takes a great fight. He said, I'm not stuck. You're stuck, mate. You're stuck chasing me. That was absolutely beautiful. Great game sense by Shameless as well. He takes the supply lead for the first time in a while, and he guns down every single disruptor. Fantastic fight. Absolutely fantastic fight by the Russian youngster. After taking out that base too. And now he's got 4 disruptors against 0. Gets on top of this bottom base as well. Is there a way? Is there a way? For 15 minutes it felt like it was all Goblin. Oh my goodness. I mean, Goblin does still have this army in the center of the map. Was doing a good job in finding pickups. But Goblin losing that 4th base, the 5th base. Did go up to another base over here, so that is now his 4th. That was monstrous on the side of Shameless. Such a good job. He just kind of knew that the disruptors were here. He split off 5 Stalkers, blinked on top of them, and then he had 1 disruptor coming in from the top that fired a perfect Nova. As Goblin now gets on top of this center base, also means that Goblin is a tiny bit stuck. Shameless could set up a surround, but Goblin has vision of it. This observer right here is cash money. And now Shameless also coming in, guys, from the other side, and it's Zealots. Oh, Zealots getting on top of the disruptors. Will that Nova connect? No, it will not connect as the Stalkers blink across it. Man, this PvP is sick. A 19-minute banger between Shameless and Goblin. Because that War Prism does get picked off. This is too difficult to attack into. You have to be careful, by the way, firing Purification Novas in the middle of nowhere. I would lie if I've said I've never blown up half my army myself by just pressing F2 and firing a Nova. Hoping a Disruptor is close, and it's kind of close. Close enough to blow up your own units. Units lost resource tab right now. 525 resources difference. Oh, mega close. for a 19-minute game. It really was all goblin for a while. I want to see those units lost resources tie up completely. We need Shameless to lose 500 resources somewhere. Seems like that's doable. So close. Come on, give it to me. Goblin is actually going to lose a few more resources. He's going to be forced to cancel the Nexus and lose that pylon too. Once more, these two armies are going to avoid each other. 6 disruptors on the side of Shameless, 5 on the side of Goblin. Goblin's got 5 observers. Shameless has vision of the disruptors here, so he knows where those are at. He takes out this bottom base. What a beautiful game. Needs to avoid that Nova, and he does. Goblin still has this army that he hasn't used in a little while. Shameless is not going to get on top of this base, but this base is pretty much mined out. These two armies dangerously close to each other in the center of the map. A lot of barking, but no biting, as all the Novas fall short. Oh, that's perhaps one with potential. Shameless blinks forward, finds all the disruptors by themselves. Goblin loses 3 of them very quickly. The 4th one will go down too, as this army is still here, battling in the natural. Is Shameless really getting the best of Goblin? Oh, that's a sick Nova though by Goblin. Right when we think it's Shameless, it might still be Goblin, because that was a fantastic shot. And Goblin does hold in the natural as well. Has now lost 1300 resources more. This is going to try to get on top of this base on the left side. Disruptor misrallied. Unfortunately, that's exposed, but those Stalkers now all by themselves. Goblin does end up losing the Observer. Shameless setting up the flank with the Disruptors, guys, and he knows that Goblin has already blinked. That is a lot of Novas, and they will find good connections. Goblin's got a Disruptor coming in from the right as well. Shameless trying to cut off the retreating path. This is such a silly game. Goblin still has a tiny bit of money, but it is Shameless who takes another good fight. Well, this game definitely makes up for all the shorter games we had. Shameless gets the double kill on the 2 Observers in the center. Stalkers and Zealots trying to get on top of Stalkers and Disruptors. Perhaps a decent fight here for Goblin. Goblin is down economically. He's down bad. That is a good Nova by Shameless too. The Russian youngster, guys, holding his own against some of the best Goblin that we have seen ever throughout Goblin's pretty long career at this point. Tiny, well, that's a risky forward blink. Goblin just knew that the Disruptors were not able to fire, but that final Disruptor, guys, it survives with 4 HP. The 4 HP Disruptor gets the shot off. And it's Shameless who takes the 1-0 lead. Look at this. Look at this. Goblin with a full volley. A 4 HP Disruptor fires the shot. And Goblin walks away and loses 7 Stalkers or so. Holy smokes, what a game. What a game by the 18-year-old youngster from Novosibirsk. Man, that was amazing. That's awesome. The underdog takes the 1-0 lead. And he had to work for it. It definitely felt that Goblin had a slightly better grasp on the matchup early on. And Goblin just outpositioned him, took map control, had slightly better macro. But Shameless just did some great things as soon as he had a proper army. The unit movement was fantastic throughout the entire game. Shameless is going to request a minute break, which I think is fair. Especially when he was in the bottom left, where I actually thought he was trapped. But he just knew. He knew Goblin was going to set up the flank. He split up 5 Stalkers. He kind of got on top of the Disruptors. And then he landed great Novas himself. Maybe got a tiny bit fortunate with that 1 Disruptor coming in. Through the bottom left, fired a great shot immediately, but impressive. Very, very fun game. And an impressive performance by the youngster. 1-0 lead for Shameless. Good evening, Sick. I think it's safe to say that that was the best game of the Big Brain Bouts so far, guys. We had a lot of short games so far, but that was actually a banger. Very, very impressive. Players are ready for a game 2 on site Delta. Winner of the best of 5 will walk away with 150 buckies. That is provided to you guys and the players by Basilisk. The loser will still get 50. So obviously always a fun series to play. But these nerds don't have the opportunity that often to play a single series and walk away with 150 bucks. So whenever you play the main event, you want to win. So far, Shameless off to a good start here. I think he knows that it's still going to be a very long road to the W here in the best of 5. Side Delta is going to be our second battleground. Bam. Bam. Bam.
Round 2. Fight!
In the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of our 18-year-old Russian Protoss from Novosibirsk, taking the 1-0 lead in his first ever main event. It is Shameless. And what a way to do it. The man was down, was in trouble, just had a little bit less, and it was all a little bit worse across the board. But great army movement. Eventually got the best of this man, who went for that very heavy Stalker comp for a very long time. Our Croatian Protoss, who was probably pretty happy when I told him his opponent. Is he still happy? He's probably still pretty confident. He knows at this point there is no more room for errors. This is Platinum Heroes Goblin. It was time, Pogo. I had to wait so long to get my haircut made. It was ridiculous. I get so itchy when my hair gets long. And then I can feel it touching my ears, and I always feel like it's a spider or a mosquito. It drove me insane. I'm very happy that I finally managed to get a haircut right before the Esports World Cup. As I told Rainer, you gotta look spiffy. If you go to the desert, you gotta look spiffy. Especially now that the first day I have absolutely nothing to do. And I was low-key hoping for a tiny bit of compensation, you know, where they're like, oh, hey, we messed up, sorry. Nothing. I think I'm gonna ask for it, though. It's like, hey, you asked me to be here on that day. It is not fair to now be like, oh, yeah, sorry, we just moved it. A tiny compensation. Bare minimum, I want a food voucher. I want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings and buy a couple wings. That is the least they can do. Side Delta, of course, a very different map than Oceanborn. A map where a ramp leads into the natural, which means you have to worry about high ground vision. And that is why a lot of Protoss players like to go one gate here. Goblin is the first one to get the Nexus down. Shameless does not quite have the money to get the Nexus down, but he does have the Zealots. I don't think Goblin is really going to waste any more time. I'm surprised that... I mean, Shameless is choosing to go for the quick Stargate. Even though he knows the probe of Goblin is still around, so the probe has seen it. Goblin is now going to play double gate. So at least the gateway at home could still go for 3 or 4 gateway aggressive. Oh, that's not the case for me at all, Gauntlet Wizard. I'm sad you feel that way, mate. For me, Buffalo Wild Wings is the opposite. I'm always excited, and once I have it, I just want more. And I can't wait for the next time I can go. Zealot Stalker versus Zealot Adept obviously favors the Stalker player, as the Stalker just has a little more micro potential, but the Adept can shade, and the Adept is going to do his absolute best to shade a way out of trouble, and it will. Now the Oracle of Shameless shows up, activates Pulsar Beam, kills the Stalker, that's not too bad. Oracles deal crazy damage to Zealots, a little bit less to Stalkers. Is there a world where he gets this? Oh my, what? What? A single Oracle shows up and it zaps down 2 Stalkers. That is pretty problematic for Goblin, who's now gonna get a 3rd gateway in the Twilight Council, but this is obviously not what he was hoping for. And that was beautiful Oracle movement by Shameless, and I'm very surprised that he won that fight. Adapt is gonna shade into the natural. He's not gonna commit. Double Oracle, 1 Oracle obviously low on energy, but that's still enough to deal some damage, guys. Shameless is off to such a sick start here on side Delta, as he killed the 2 Stalkers on his side of the map, and he now gets 5 workers, and he forced Goblin to pull all the workers away as well, and that makes it even worse. That makes it even worse. Two oracles could go for it one more time. I don't think they have energy though. Seems like Goblin didn't want to take the risk. Sometimes it's really hard to say if an oracle has 23 energy or if it has like 31. The 31 may not seem like a lot because you're going to lose 25 the moment you activate Pulsar Beam. But those 4 or 5 seconds that your two oracles have energy, you can still deal a lot of damage. And Goblin apparently did not want to take the risk. Shameless playing a very strong best of 5 so far. Bit of a shaky start to that first game. It wasn't even bad. It just kind of felt that Goblin was all over him. Sniping an Observer here, sniping an Ops there, getting an Immortal, etc. But perhaps winning that first game really gave the Russian Protoss the confidence that he is looking for. As he finds the proxy setup as well. He's going to get the first pile and he's going to get the second one as well. Shameless already has Blink, despite the fact that he was the Stargate player. I mean, this is a fight that I think he can kind of take, especially on his side of the map. I'm surprised that Goblin is that eager to take it, but obviously Guardian Shield is big. It takes an alrighty fight in the end, but how much do we have at home, Goblin? 3 Stalkers apparently. But Shameless already now a 3-base Protoss with a battery in the main, a battery in the natural, a 12 worker lead. I don't really see a way here, guys, for Goblin. The man who had some serious PvP woes, Shameless, the one matchup where he didn't quite look as impressive as he did in the other two. This is playing an incredibly good best of 5 here. And Goblin maybe getting a little bit unfortunate here and there, but this second game it really has all been Shameless. Goblin has a little Stalker lead, but he's gonna have to take the fight over his life. There are Stasis Trappies coming online now too. One Stasis Trappy in the natural. Goblin doesn't know. Goblin does not know. But he can't go. He won't go in there anyway. I'm sure that we're going to get a Stasis Trap here on the high ground too. There are shield batteries. Shameless trying to buy some time for his Immortal. Goblin wondering, do I go for that battery or do I take the fight? As he now takes a bit of a hidden base. A little bit awkward. Maybe he saw the Zealot that is on hold position here. There is a Stasis Trap on the left. 93 supply against 107. And if you're both working with Blink Stalkers, that is a very serious lead. Goblin does have more Stalkers, but Shameless got an Immortal and Shameless got shield batteries too. Double Oracle. Goblin still has 3 Stalkers, guys, defending his main and his natural. But they are currently in the natural. However, the Oracles do not want to go for it. Wow. Goblin double expanding. Of 48 workers, guys. Goblin is double expanding as he's gonna try to get some value out of the superior Stalker lead. Now the Oracles do show up. Shameless gonna activate Pulsar Beam. Goblin, where are your defensive Stalkers, mate? They are gonna blink into the high ground, but that is painful. Onto the high ground. Double Immortal and a 15 worker lead for 3-base Shameless against 2-base Goblin. But 2-base Goblin is about to become 4-base Goblin. And then I think Goblin is just going to spam Stalkers and Zealots. But if Goblin wins this, I would be incredibly impressed. Because right now there is not a whole lot to be happy about. The Oracles of Shameless, I want to say, should know that there is a base here. They have seen that there is a base. They will activate Pulsar Beam. Not a lot of energy. Triple battery left here defensively. I mean, if Goblin can theoretically keep Shameless at home for another 90 seconds, 2 minutes, give or take, he can probably get good value out of the fact that he's got 4 bases. Spamming Zealots is cheap. He's getting 2 more gates. Maybe he can get 2 more in there. He goes Templar Archives actually. I mean, Archons, Zealots, Stalkers, it's all fine. But I think if Shameless is moving out right now, and I really don't see any reason why he wouldn't move out, what is going to stop him? Shameless is down 5 Stalkers, but he's got 13 Zealots against 6. He's got 2 Immortals against 0, and he still has the 2 Oracles as well. Yeah, I can kind of see adepts with resonating glaives. But I also don't think it's necessary, as Goblin does find the War Prism, by the way. That's a little bit sloppy on the side of Shameless, who's immediately gonna rebuild that War Prism. Single Stalker blinks forward to get an Oracle. That's actually kind of a good move by Goblin, but now his Stalkers are derping. Because there was another Stasis Trappy there too. Goblin getting a bit unfortunate perhaps with the pathing there around that little lake, or whatever you guys want to call it. Lost a lot of Stalkers there in the end for one of the Oracles and activating a couple of Stasis Trappies. That is not what our man was looking for. How good are these Archons? It kind of feels against the crazy amount of range units that Shameless is working with. As Shameless also has +1. I don't think the Archon's gonna make the difference. Where is our War Prism, Shameless? It's still at home, but Goblin looks at that army and feels there is no way for him to ever beat it. There's a couple of the gates get unpowered too. Goblin was floating money, he couldn't spend it. GG. A 2-0 lead, guys. A 2-0 lead for the underdog. PvP. Shameless playing incredibly good. Especially that start. And the first Oracle activating Pulsar Beam, getting the kill on the first Stalker is like, okay, that's something. But then getting that second Stalker as well, yeah, that was massive. 10% of the bets on Shameless. I mean, the best of 5 is not over yet, but it is really difficult to win 3 PvPs in a row. Next game is a post-youth. I'm sure that Goblin expected many things, but not this. I didn't apologize for it. I said I believed in Shameless, and I understand that a lot of other people will heavily favor Goblin. But if I did not believe in Shameless making this a fun series, I would have never made the best of 5, right? All I said is, like, from a neutral point of view, I think the first 3 best of 5s were very difficult to predict per usual. And I think this one was easy to predict, but that doesn't actually mean that it's easy. Goblin can still win it. It is too early to count the man out. I mean, if anything, it shows that this was the right match to make. If the underdog is taking the 2-0 lead, then this really was the right match to make. But Goblin can absolutely still do it. If Shameless can win 2 in a row, Goblin can win 3 in a row. It's doable. Round 3. For the first time, we have not been tied up after 2 matches. Instead, it is a 2-0 lead for the underdog.
Round 3. Fight!
In the top right side, can he win his first ever BASILISK Big Brain Bouts a main event? A young man from Novosibirsk who apparently really likes apple juice. It is Shameless. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of our very own Croatian Protoss, a member of Team Roddy for a long time. Now, Platinum Heroes down 0-2. Can we turn this around? It is Goblin. Platinum Heroes all the way. Kinda does feel that Goblin is Team Roddy forever. Even if they move on, this kinda feels that he's Team Roddy forever. I think the meta on this map is to go 1 gate expand. You obviously have an in-base, so you kind of treat it very similar to a map like Side Delta. But what do I know? Goblin being annoying here, trying to delay the cybernetic score of Shameless. But in the end, that cybercore is still slightly quicker. Wonder if Goblin is also willing to displace target here. I feel like historically, Goblin is a good Phoenix against Phoenix player. He's had plenty of success with this. Maybe he's not a fan, I don't know. I think it obviously is a bit of a guessing game, and it does give you all these other things to worry about. Maybe a Dark Shrine transition. Somebody could go Oracle, and Goblin was actually one of the first Protosses at a high level to ever tell me that playing Oracle against Phoenix in a weird way, it doesn't feel that bad. Now there was a day and age that Oracles were light armored and Phoenixes would deal double damage against Oracles. And obviously at that point, yeah, Phoenix was incredibly good against Oracle. Right now, even if you find an Oracle, most of the time you can't really kill it. Let's see if Goblin sticks to what he told me a while ago, where he said Oracle low-key good against Phoenix. It is a Phoenix on the side of Shameless. It is an Oracle on the side of Goblin. I know it sounds weird, because one unit can attack the other. But I understand what he means, and I've lost plenty of games against Oracles with Phoenixes myself. Nice little trap there by Shameless, as he gets quite a few hits off under the depth. Now it is very important for Goblin that he does not let these units get into his main base. Goblin does know about the Phoenix opening, because he still had his probe apparently out and about on the map. It seems like we're going to lose that probe to the probe of Shameless. So it's Oracle into Phoenix, guys. Straight up Phoenix for Shameless, while Goblin goes Oracle into Phoenix. Stalker Adapt should be good enough here, as we can cancel the battle. It is beautiful defense by Goblin, as he actually going to get the double kill, doesn't lose anything. Now how much damage can this Oracle do with a bunch of Phoenixes that are chilling at home? Goblin knows that... Oh my god, that's sick. He's hiding it behind the main. That is actually kind of a cool play. Huh. And Shameless knew about the Oracle, right? No, he knows about a Phoenix. That is quite the play, guys. He's hiding behind enemy lines. Oh, and Shameless is moving out with the Phoenixes. This is so rough. Goblin with 280 IQ, big brain plays here on the Friday night. Hides the Oracle behind the main base of Shameless. As Shameless is going to try to take a good Phoenix fight on the other side of the map. And he might. But he's going to lose so many workers. The moment Goblin sees the Phoenixes here of Shameless, he's going to use that Oracle. He's going to see the Phoenix here. Goblin, you need to go back. You need to go back. Oh, he is down in Phoenixes, but the Oracle is going to show up. Goblin is just going to fly away. And look at this Oracle, guys. This Oracle is going to put a number on the economy of Shameless. But Shameless obviously feels that he can win the Phoenix fight. This is crazy. This is legitimately crazy. Like, the Oracle is god here. And don't forget, it has a lot of energy because it's been hiding for a little while. And the Goblin should probably go for the recall. Or what do we do? I mean, the economic damage is mental. Can Goblin get enough Phoenixes out? Because he does lose all his initial Phoenix. Hello? What? What is this recall? That is a weird ass recall. But okay. We recalled. Now two Adepts are hiding. And they're going to shade in as well. I mean, you say GG. But can Goblin survive against all the Phoenixes of Shameless? Shameless is about to become like a zero probe Protoss, by the way. He can't recall anymore. Because now the two Adepts are going to show up. They're going to kill even more. But he's just going to YOLO it. He's going to try to get on top of everything. He might just want to lift the Stalker here. Battery Overcharge, Goblin. I think Battery Overcharge would be useful here, mate. Battery Overcharge. He's going to use it now. That is good enough. But fighting with one Phoenix is not it. Oh, Goblin loses one of the Phoenixes. As the other Phoenixes are here. What on earth is happening? Goblin is going to build a Dark Shrine as he just feels that he wants to kill every single probe of Phoenix. This is the most bizarre PvP that you've seen in a while. Goblin has over 40 workers, but Shameless does not feel that he can ever win. Because I guess eventually the Dark Shrine would come on. Honestly, with this many Phoenix, I would like to see him try if it's 8 against 4. But Goblin perhaps just a little too rich. With the Twilight Council, is able to still build Phoenixes. What a game. What a game. Goblin gets one on the board. With the biggest brain Oracle play. And the wise words of Goblin a while ago, where he said Oracle opening low-key good against Phoenix. Well, the man proved his point. It obviously felt risky to rally an Oracle to the other side of the map against a Phoenix player, but he got away with it. If there was ever, by the way, a game that proves that Shameless is an honest player, I think this is the game. Poor guy. Poor guy. How was he down so many Phoenix while only building one Oracle? Because well, it was 3 against 5. It was 3 Phoenix against 5, and he flew the 3 Phoenixes away. And all 3 Phoenixes died by themselves. So he lost 3 Phoenix for nothing. Is Shameless Team Roddy? No, he's Elfin. At the moment, Team Roddy only has 2 members, Sabadas and Fionn. And I'm gonna keep it at that for a while. Until your man is done with a lot of things, there will definitely not be a 3rd player. 2 players is all it is at the moment. Goblin 1, Shameless 2, round 4.
Round 4. Fight.
3 wins versus 5 on the battery overcharge? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's close, but I think Phoenixes have too much burst damage to make up. Because Phoenix deal double damage against Phoenix, right? I don't think he had battery overcharge at that point. But he also had no battery. When he only had 3 Phoenix, he had no battery, period. So all he could do was fly away, and that's what he did. I will be playing the 4v4 tomorrow, but I don't know with who yet. I am playing with Moja, Gabe, and someone. Alright guys, round 4. Winner of the best of 5 gets 150 buckies. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of our Russian Protoss representing Elfin. It is Shameless. Stealth Vapor, that is a different matchup, my friend. When I talk about Oracle into Phoenix in PvT, obviously that does not apply to PvP. Come on. I should not have to explain that. That's a completely different ballgame. In the top right side of Crimson Court, we are looking at the main base of our Croatian favorite. Getting one on the board with some cheeky plays like that must feel good. Can he turn this around and once more win a BASILISK Big Brain Bouts main event? It is Croatia's finest Platinum Heroes Goblin. You'll be playing the 4v4 tourney tomorrow, Optimist? Who are your allies? I think with 2 strong German Terrans on my side, I'm gonna feel powerful. I'm actually thinking of like... The sad thing is like streaming it is fun, right? Because the content is great. But my computer runs so bad in team games. I felt it a lot in 3v3. I already feel it properly in 2v2. I think I'll just give it a shot. I assume that 4v4 is going to be very explosive. A lot of early game aggression, so I don't think it matters. And in the late game, even if we can't really micro, at that point we should hopefully have a bunch of carriers. We can just aim move. And the FPS does not matter. With Zardian, Sickness, and the Silent One. What a team. Goblin hitting us with a Robo, guys. And that kind of screams 3-gate Robo. Shameless has gone a double sentry into another sentry stalker. So, wait. Goblin's expanding, so just 2-gate Robo? That's interesting. No shield battery on the low ground though, as Goblin has gone for a hallucination. I mean, I kind of think that Shameless is fine here. Shameless should be fine. He can always attack the sentry, because you know that the sentry is real. Thank you so much, House I am 222 for the prime. Sentry for a sentry, not sentry for a sentry, as Shameless pulls back his low HP unit and saves it. Honestly, well done. Why is my computer slow? Because streaming just takes a lot off your PC. I mean, if you do !PC, you can see my stats. But it doesn't matter. Once you stream, especially in team games, it's gonna have a big impact. And as you guys have heard me say many times, if I stream with 6K bitrate, I actually feel like my computer is quite rough to play with. 4K is totally fine, but 6K bitrate is rough. And there are plenty of people who are like, oh, that shouldn't be the case, but it's just the way it is. With Starcraft, it's the way it is. With Stormgate, I don't feel it. But with Starcraft, I absolutely feel it, and it's so difficult. In 1v1, or team games for that matter. I have no idea what that was about, mate, but 99% of the timeouts and bans on this channel are not done by me. So, talking to me about it is silly. If it's ever done by me, it will literally be me calling you out for being a donkey. I can take a look at your chat history after this game, but I'm not interested in it right now. Shameless has a couple of adepts shading into the natural of Goblin as he finds damage. Goblin also trying to find some damage on the other side of the map. Shameless has a Robo, has an Immortal, and he's working on an Observer. So they took very, very different routes to where they are at right now. But I kind of feel like we're heading in similar direction. Resonating Glaives for Goblin. Resonating Glaives for Shameless. I have tried both Alexis Lionel. It is just a thing, mate. As I said, if I stream with 4K bitrate, not an issue. If I stream with 6K in Starcraft 2, it is a big issue for me. And I've tried both CPU and video card, but maybe it's also like a bit worse in the summer because obviously it's hot all around. I don't have AC. And I think the computer has a harder time cooling properly. In the winter it's better. But I've had a lot of different PCs over the years, always relatively high end. And there are people who say like, oh, my PC works totally fine, or it's even fine on my laptop. But it just all depends what you're looking for. I don't think Wadi uses a separate streaming PC anymore. I don't think he does that. It's very old school for people to do that. That was a kind of a thing in like the year 2014-15, but almost everybody stops with the double PC setup. Because it's just incredibly complicated and it sets up the window for a lot of different issues. Observer on both sides. So Goblin does have a Dark Shrine, but has not wiped in any DDs yet. Let me just focus on the game a little bit, guys, because it's game 4, Friday night, main event. Winner of this series will walk away with 150 buckies. I know it's odd, TS, but it's there, mate. There is a reason why whenever I'm casting, it's always 6,000 bitrate, and whenever I'm playing, it's always 4,000. And in team games, like Gabe said it yesterday as well. You guys heard me when I played 3v3 with Gabe, and I asked him if his PC was lagging. He also said like, no, but I'm not streaming. That just makes a big difference. 20 adepts on the side of Shameless. Only 8 adepts right now on the side of Goblin. But defender's advantage should be massive here. Archons in here, shield batteries should be fantastic. Battery overcharge is sick. Shameless cannot take that fight. But Shameless wisely disengages as he's going to wait. 3 base Goblin against 2 base Shameless. Shameless has the army supply lead. Kind of feels like it's now or never, right? Because obviously being down an entire base and your opponent having a Dark Shrine and Archons is problematic. But Shameless kills the first Archon. Uh-oh, is Goblin in trouble here, guys? Can Goblin buy enough time to get enough defensive units out? He's got 4 Immortals, all 4 of them firing right now. Force fields could be scary. Nothing to break force fields anymore. Goblin is harassing on the other side of the map, but I don't think that's the play. I think Goblin needs to focus on his defense. I mean, the War Prism is doing its thing, and Shameless is losing workers. But Shameless is looking to kill the army of Goblin here and potentially win this edition of the Big Brain Bouts. And the army of Goblin is stuck. It's cornered. Nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. And I don't think it matters. Okay, maybe it does matter how many workers Shameless loses on the other side of the map. Because Shameless is losing a lot of Immortals. There's nothing here for Goblin. A defensive prism would have been monstrous for the Creation Protoss, but he's got no defensive prism. It is 2 base Shameless, guys. 2 base Shameless, who gets the job done and wins this edition of the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts. Perhaps against all odds. I believed in him. Not that he was necessarily going to win, but I believe that he had the skills to make this a very competitive series. And he absolutely did. That was an awesome performance by him. Obviously a frustrating series for Goblin. Goblin's not going to be happy with it, especially not with how sharp Goblin started, where he got the Immortal, got the Observers in game 1 on Oceanborn. And it kind of felt that things were shaping up for a pretty perfect night at the office for Goblin. But never count out those young guys. 18-year-old Shameless gets the job done. That is honestly very impressive. Well done. It's a man who has struggled in PvP in the past. That was the one matchup that he was not quite as good at as in the other matchups. That's impressive. Impressive. GG's. Shout out to Indy for helping out and hosting all the games throughout the night. It was a very short edition of the BBB. But I still think we had some fun games, fun storylines. Obviously, next week there is no Big Brain Bouts because I'll be in Saudi Arabia. The week after that, I don't know yet. I'm going to have to give it some time. I'm going to have to give it some thought. And we will see. We'll also see what kind of announcements they'll be making over at the Esports World Cup. We will all figure it out. But for now, we are done. Only 10% of the folks out there believe that Shameless could win this best of 5. And that is obviously the beauty, guys, of the Big Brain Bouts. 78,000 points against 678,000, but it's the underdog who gets it done. Thank you so much to Athena for gifting a subby. Thank you so much to SK Min for the 300 bits. Thank you to Mad Jacket for the Prime. Yes, on, what is it, Wednesday? It's on the 14th. On Wednesday, the biggest Starcraft tournament in history starts over in Saudi Arabia. I believe the first day is just a remote broadcast. That is at least what people have been telling me today, and I believe them. After that, we will be casting. They announced the casters today. Finally. Took a long time, guys. But 2 days before we fly out, casters have been announced. Look at them beautiful smiles. Loco is also part of the crew, but Loco is just part of a different show. They do 2 shows, one StarCraft exclusive, one all-around esports show, and Loco is doing the all-around esports show. It's obviously very cool. Apparently, Statfest and Fear Dragon are doing it from home though, so they'll be missed. I obviously wish that I was able to hang out with them. I don't know if Lambo will be casting because he is listed as a tech analyst. So there is a chance that they will just keep him on the desk, and that we are the commentators, and that they just analyze. But honestly, I think that would be silly. I would love to see them cast. I also think that when it comes to analysis, other people can do it. Like, not everybody likes to do it. I know some people are not a fan of being on the desk, but I think it's kind of fun. So, let's give it a shot. I'll see, mate, what you are... Yeah, you were not timed out by me. You were timed out by someone else. But it doesn't matter. Yeah. And I think that timeout was very well deserved, Uncle Joe. So that's on you, mate. I have little to do with that. That one is on you. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day for now. Is Nathanias persona non grata? No, that's absolutely not the case. Because he did do some of the online shows, but you know, eventually, I'm not in charge of that, so I can't really answer those questions. Either you have to ask Alex. If you guys ask Alex or the ESL account, like, they are in charge of who they select. Like, I am not in charge of who gets selected. I don't know why people get selected or who don't. If I was in charge, I obviously would have done things different over the years, but I'm not the one who's in charge. I think they just eventually have to make some decisions, right? And this is the crew that they went for. So... I don't know. You're going to have to ask Alex or the ESL account. They can answer that for you. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead, guys, and get some food. Since it is very early, I think I might be back later tonight. But first, I'm going to relax a little bit. I'm going to eat. And then I'll spend some time with Vicky. And after that, maybe we'll play some StarCraft. Maybe we'll play some StarCraft in Stormgate. Or just Stormgate. Who knows? The Queen. The Queen is going to be very lonely, Coco. She's going to miss her man, so going to have to spend some time with her. Fun games. Congrats to Shameless. That was a very fun performance. I think a very memorable performance for him. And I hope that these are the kind of evenings that really fuels the fire for a kid like Shameless. That he keeps doing his best, whether it's StarCraft or Stormgate or whatever. And maybe one day we'll see that kid accomplish great things in life. It is possible. She would love that, Coco. She's a big fan of you. So she would absolutely love that. So she is going to be lonely. Coco, she already has a panic attack if I have to go to the restroom in the middle of the night. I don't know what she's thinking, but like maybe in her mind, I'm hopping into my car, I'm driving away, I'm never coming back. I'm just going downstairs to pee. And she's like, where you going? Come back. It's like, chill, babe. It's fine. I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, we're gonna spend some time with her. I see that our boy Wingend is live, guys. Wingend playing some Stormgate. I believe that our young German ambitious video gamer is making some progress. Maya, the Terran, who got the W earlier tonight in the chat as well. So yeah, tiny break, and then I'll see you guys later tonight, and obviously see you guys tomorrow. 4v4 tournament, at least with Moja and Gabe. We're gonna find someone else, and then some F1 in the evening with the boys. I don't know. I also need to pack eventually. Tomorrow I do need to do some packing, but we'll figure it out. Take care, guys. Enjoy Wingend for now, and maybe see you guys in a bit. Can't promise, but I think I will. It was a fun night. Shout out to Basilisk. Absolute go to team. I'm trying to raid Wingend in his own chat. I don't believe that I have those powers. But in my chat, I do. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Congrats to the winners. Fun night. Obviously, if you guys want to read up on the results, !B. Basilisk Big Brain Bouts number 167. Shameless, Maya, Optimist, and Mixu. All with, yeah, just great performances across the board. Not a single 3-0. A lot of 3-1s. Oh, it's not bad. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.